The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corcoran Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Franky Corcoran. How's it going, everybody? Happy, is this the first episode of February? Yeah, it is the first episode of February. That's crazy. Hope you guys are having a good year. Hopefully you guys are having a good month so far. First off, I just want to say to everybody, Noise is Off by CM Productions. Anybody who is listening to this in the Miramichi and surrounding areas, come on to the Miramichi Valley High School Theater to see Michael Fran's Noise is Off, CM Productions. I'm super excited to be part of it. It's one of the funniest plays and probably the most ambitious play I've ever partaken in. It's an amazing show, amazing cast, amazing director, and I'm just excited for everyone to see it. So anyone in the Miramichi area, please be sure to come on out and see it. Noise is Off by CM Productions, written by Michael Fran, and tickets are $20. They can be purchased at the door, and just come on and support live theater. Live theater is a big thing. Or you can also reserve them by texting or calling 625-2398. And yeah, so that's the plug for this week, guys. I normally do plugs for some events that are going on in the city. Rock and River Fest as well too is going to be in the episode description to get your tickets for the big show that everyone's working so hard to put together, and lots of stuff going on. And then we got this podcast here. So very excited about our guest today. This was a great one. I had a lot of fun chatting with this amazingly talented man, Kurt Ellenberger. It was a topic that I never expected. It was a really, really interesting conversation. He is actually Dr. Kurt Ellenberger. He has had a long career as a performer, composer, music educator, and scholar. Since 1999, he is a professor at has been a professor of music at Grand Valley State University's Frederik Meijer Honors College. And essentially what we talk a lot about is using math to play music. As you guys can tell by the title of this episode, using math to play music. It is an amazing concept that I never thought about. Just be sure to listen to the episode to know what we're talking about. But amazing chat with him. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you like the episode, be sure to give us a nice review, rating, all that stuff. After the interview with Kurt, I'm going to give my thoughts on Sam Raimi has some news about Spider-Man 4, his Spider-Man 4, not Spider-Man Brand New Day. Some news about that, whether it's going to happen or not. And also at the very end, I'm going to be talking a little bit about, we lost one of the greats this past week, Catherine O'Hara, Home Alone, Schitt's Creek. She passed away. So going to be paying a little bit of a tribute to her at the end of this and reflecting on her amazing career. Anyways, guys, without further ado, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Franky Corcoran, and today I am joined by a very, very talented pianist, composer, educator, who is known for hearing math and seeing sound. Very excited to have him on here today. Kurt Ellenberger. Kurt, what's going on, man?
Hey, good to be here. It's my first Canadian podcast, so as an expat living in the States, it's kind of fun to connect with a fellow Canadian here.
Oh, it's always great, and that's what I love about doing podcasts is that you connect with so many different people throughout the world. Instead of like, it's kind of funny how I first started. I was always just interviewing people, like close friends and stuff like that I knew, and then now we've been able to grow it to the point that I can talk to people like you, who's in a different part of the world. Where are you located right now, actually?
I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so that's on the west side of Michigan, about 3.5 hours from Detroit, and which is right across the river from Windsor, Ontario, which is where I'm from.
Oh, okay, right on. Oh, well, there we go. Look at that. So we're fellow Canadian, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
There we go. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Kurt. And one of the things that really intrigued me about your work is the whole idea of seeing music through math kind of thing. Like it's a really, really interesting concept that I really never thought about. So if there's anybody listening who's kind of confused about what that means, what can you tell us about that?
Well, there's mathematics at the basis of it. And without that mathematical series involved in music, we wouldn't have music. So there's something that I've always kind of wondered about, and I've studied it in terms of acoustics and physics. And I've tried to bring that to all of my students, and every time I do, they're absolutely gobsmacked by what they hear, because everyone listens to music, everyone has this huge emotional response to it, but no one knows how it works. Even musicians don't really know how and why it works. So that's kind of what I've delved into, and I looked into that in particular in regards to music and evolution. Like why do we have that faculty in our auditory system?
Right. It's so interesting that we never really thought of, and and math really, when you look at it, it's everywhere, no matter what you do. Even someone like me in school, math was never my strong suit. I always, obviously the basics and stuff like that, it's easy. But then once you start getting into geometry and things like that, I'm just like, do I know this? I don't think I know math as well as I thought I did, So it's really, really interesting to look at it from that perspective. Where did you teach for how many years again?
I just retired, actually, and I taught for 31 years.
Wow.
Mostly here in Grand Rapids, but I also taught at one of my first jobs was at the University of Lethbridge in Alberta, and then I got the job here at Grand Valley State University, and I just retired last month, actually.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on that. How are you adjusting to it? Is it less stressful? Is it more stressful because you feel like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, how you kind of adjusting to it?
Well, what's the funny thing that's happened is all of a sudden I'm getting all these podcasts. So my wife is saying, well, geez, you retired from that, and now you're doing these podcasts. So it's been great so far. Yeah.
Well, it's good, and it's one of those things. Some people, a very scary thought, because as I said, it's what am I going to do with myself? Can I go back a few days a week and maybe teach or whatever? As a supply teacher, you kind of start scrambling, and then that's when you really start to go. Am I ready for retirement? But
Yeah.
for you, were you ready for retirement, or were you just kind of I guess I'll do it?
I think it just got to be the right time. I think there's kind of a generational thing that happens too, that, you're teaching for 30 years. The students that are coming in, 30 years ago are different than the students that come in today. There's different cultural references, and it just kind of felt like, I think it's time for me to call it a day. And I
Well,
felt
that's
really
good
good
though.
about it. Yeah.
No, exactly. And I mean, at a certain point, you also got to look at, like life's short. Tomorrow's not promised. You want to
Yeah.
just take some time to enjoy your life. But do you still kind of tinker a little bit with some of the work here and there? Like, would you ever go in for a day here and there if they needed somebody, or?
Probably not teaching, but I'm pretty involved as an editor and author. So I'm a contributing editor at All About Jazz, which is it's one of the first jazz websites to show up on the internet. And I'm also a managing editor at the Journal of Applied Jazz, which is housed in Amsterdam. So I'm doing a lot of that kind of work still. I do a little bit of recording stuff, so I still do some composition and a little bit of playing, but that's kind of it. Keeps me busy.
No, exactly. That's all you need too, And but that's it's really, really when we just thinking about, I keep going back to, of course, using math for music. Like, how does our brain kind of hear mathematical patterns in music? Like, how would you kind of describe that feeling?
Yeah, so let's do a little bit. I'll kind of pull you into the. You'll be the Franky choir of one. So I'll play this little example. This is what I played in all of my classes.
Okay.
And when I get to the end of it, I'll ask you to sing the note that you think should come next. It's very easy.
Okay.
Don't have to be a musician to do it. Everyone always comes up with the same note. So here we go.
Ah.
Is that the note?
Ah.
Okay, you're close enough. So,
Okay.
so yeah, so I didn't play that note, but that's the note you hear. That's the note you want to hear after that cadence, right? So it's la,
Ah.
yeah.
Okay.
So how do you hear that note when it wasn't played? So your brain did a calculation based on what I was playing, and it sent a signal to your vocal cords to go to that pitch, right? Because it's
Okay.
expecting it. Somehow your brain expected that note. So if I played, you're happy, right?
Right.
But what if I did something different? Right? I went somewhere else.
Yeah, that kind of took me a minute too because I'm almost like counting the beats where it's like dun dun dun, So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, after the third beat, that's when I come in.
Yeah, and it surprised you, right? You said, "Wait, where did he go? What's going
Yeah,
on here?"
exactly. I was just kind of like, wait a minute here.
So what's here? I'll give a brief explanation of what's actually happening because I think it's really quite fascinating. So if you play, if I play you a C, which is the note that resolve to, and you go up an octave. So there's a C, and I go up an octave, and I keep going up. All of those C's, they sound really good together, right? They sound
Right.
like, in fact, we call them C because the one that's higher sounds like a higher version of the lower C. But that's actually weird because it's not. It's a totally different pitch. But we perceive it as being so consonant that it's the same pitch, only higher. So the reason for that is really kind of strange. It's because if you, let's say that first C is a string of 4 feet. Well, if I want to sound the second C, I have to cut that string length in half.
Right.
So the ratio of the first C to the second C is 1:2. Then I have to do the same thing to get to the third C, cut it in half again, so it's a quarter length of the first string, eighth length of the next one up, right? So the pattern is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, right? 64, 128. Is that ringing a bell? In terms
Okay.
of
Oh, yes.
computer memory,
Yeah.
right? So what that series is called, it's called the binary series. So it's just factoring all these factors of 2, right? So 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 4 times, each one is times 2. So that's the series that sits at the heart of music. And what we find is, or what we're hearing in those Cs, is that your brain is calculating the relationship between the two waveforms, and it's noting that they are symmetrical. That you can,
okay.
so you have the 4 and the 2, and the 2 just cuts the 2 just cuts the 1 in half. The 4 cuts the 2 in half. The 8 cuts the 4 in half. And so when you look at that visually, the waveforms overlapping over top of each other, it looks kind of like a flower almost. It's quite beautiful because there's so much symmetry in the cutting into 2, right? So a simple example, if I asked you to take a piece of paper and fold it in half, could you do it?
Right. Yep. Here, I got
Yeah. Could you do it by 4?
I have a sticky note here. That counts.
Yeah. So you could easily fold that in half, right?
Fold it in half. There we go.
Yeah.
Folded.
And if I said now fold it in 4, you just do it one more time.
Yep.
So that's easy to do. What if I asked you to fold that into 11 or 7?
Ooh, 7.
You're done, right? You got to get a ruler out.
You saw the look at my face. I said, "What?"
There's no chance you can do
exactly.
that with any accuracy. So that's what's going on in music. What I played for you was I set up a pattern that had asymmetrical, more complex waveform relationships, and basically you were hearing a 7 and a 9, and your brain supplied the closest factor of 2 to those, and it usually goes down. So your brain was hearing this dissonance, these complex waveforms against the 1, against the low C, and your brain said, here's the closest 8. So it took the asymmetrical and gave you a symmetrical solution. That's why you hear the pitch. That's why you're expecting that pitch, and that's why you're surprised when you get something that's not that pitch. So that's what gives music its narrative power, right? That allows music to have a plot that's happening just in sound. But what it's relying on is your brain calculating the relationship between the waveforms that are coming into your ears and supplying a solution that is symmetrical and simple. If it didn't do that, we could not have music. And it's really a strange phenomenon because I've been I studied music and evolution, trying to find out what they had to say about why we have this. Like, what advantage would having that give us in the wild, 100,000 years ago or whatever. And I just did not find a viable, in my opinion, solution or answer.
That's interesting. Wow. It kind of reminds me of like, let's say you have a big stack of $20 bills and you're counting out, and maybe in total there's about, let's say, $1,700 in there. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82. I don't know, that it kind of gives me that kind of vibe.
Yeah, except you're not even thinking about it. It just, the sound waves go into your ear and are processed by your brain. Actually, they're converted to a digital electrical signal by your ears. And then that goes to your brain, and your brain instantly processes it and says, where is the symmetrical? Where is the simple from the complex? It's looking for the simple and the symmetrical, and it's kind of saying, from this point of complexity, here's where the simplest solution to the mathematical problem is. And you don't even know you're doing it.
That's cool. Wow. I never really thought about it that way. Like really, like I never thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, and that's the same reaction I've got in every class. Students just look at me like, what is he talking about? Can that really be? And I say, yeah, you all just sang that note. You pulled it out of thin air. How did you do that? You're not musicians. And that binary series is so interesting because, as I mentioned, it's really tied to computer memory, but it's also the basis of the computers you and I are using right now to have this conversation. The computer system is based on the binary series. That's the foundation of it. Not only that, your life and my life started with a binary series. The sperm met the egg, and then it split into 2, and then the 2 split into 4, and then the 4 split into 8. And we find the exact same number system here in music, and our brains somehow provide a simple symmetrical solution to our vocal cords, and we expect to hear a certain sound because of it, a certain pitch because of it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. That's really cool.
It's freaky, right?
That's why it really kind of, because it's like almost like whether we want to, like certain subjects in school that you just don't like or that you don't look forward to. It's like one of the things that you have to realize is that no matter where you're going to go, it's going to follow you in the world, no matter what. It seems like, like math, you're going to put that to the test. If somebody's not good at counting $20 bills, then, 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, so, wow, that's really, really interesting too. Was it ever a challenge to kind of get that through some students? Like, maybe they were kind of struggling a little bit to kind of grasp that concept, or?
Well, sometimes, students would say, well, that's just cultural conditioning. We've just been conditioned to do that. And, then you have to say, well, no, that's not really the case. Everybody hears this the same way across the world. We're all using the same kind of system. But in terms of students saying, well, I don't get it, that never really happened. I think that little demonstration when that whole choir of the classroom sings the same note, even though I didn't play it, they're all kind of dumbfounded by that. How did we do that? And yet you take it for granted because that's what happens when you're listening to all the music you listen to. The composer is kind of setting up these complex waveforms and then is supplying either the solution that you're expecting or surprising you with something else. Even when there's no lyrics there, right? You can have that sense of surprise. And that's the plot machine in music. That's what gives it its engine, so that you have expectations, and then those expectations are either met or they're foiled. And again, that's at the basis of what powers music. Without that, I don't think music would be anything, because there would be no expectations.
No, exactly. Well, especially if you're in a big musical, like I come from the world of theater and stuff like that. So it's like you're doing a big musical and you have a big ensemble on stage, and there comes a lot of, when there's people singing at the exact same time, or there's people taking turns and stuff, it's always very like one, you're counting the beats, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Yeah, like that's why there's so really math is kind of everywhere in the performing arts too.
Yeah, and if you look at time signatures, right? So most pop music, most theater music, most classical music is either in 4/4 time or 3/4 time, right? It's just simple, just like the same numbers as we find in the, with the C's and what we've been talking about. It's all based on 4, right? Not on 5 or 13 or something like that. Again, we want that symmetry, we want that predictability. If it's 1 2 3 4 2 2 3, you all of a sudden start clapping along. But if it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1, it loses that kind of cycling ability that it has when it's a 4 or a 2 or an 8.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's like almost counting by twos and then going 2 4 6 7. Like it's like no, you killed it.
Yeah, yeah. And so to put kind of to do it tonally. So if I play this, right? What kind of movie is this?
That sounds like a horror movie.
Sounds like a horror movie. So why does that sound like a horror movie? Because I'm playing a 1 against 17. So there's no symmetry there whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
And your brain is just really annoyed, and it's saying it recognizes that the symmetry is not there. It's disordered in some way, as opposed to. Right?
That's almost like that part right there feels like there was the first one you played, which was very like horror movie-esque, and the next one that you just played almost sounds like that's the part where they're hiding from the killer, and then the killer just can't find them and walks away. That's what that part felt like. It almost felt like rising tension, down.
Well, so what you just described is exactly what I'm talking about. when you hear the 1 and the 2s and the 4s, which are included in the 1, against 19, what your brain is saying is that is so asymmetrical. It's so disordered. It's so chaotic. So it makes you tense, right? You start to mimic the feeling of that asymmetry. And when it goes down, so I took the 17 down to a 16, and now your brain says, oh, now it's all symmetrical again, and everything works, right? And so that's why the emotional part of it is chaos, disorder, asymmetry, and then when you change that to order and symmetry, you feel relaxed. It's kind of like the make your bed thing, because you want your room to be ordered rather than chaotic, and that makes you happy and makes you less stressed.
Right. And like maybe like almost OCD, or not OCD, but I mean like it's just very like no, like it was like this before. You want it back to how it was. They put the wrong
Yes.
sheet on first. You want to put the other sheet on, like it's just
Yes.
we have a system down.
Yeah, and it's just amazing how that's just built into our psyches like that, and we don't even realize it, right? That's one of the things, you walk into a room that's just a total mess. Well, you're gonna feel that disorder and that chaos. It's not good. It's not healthy. If you tame the mess and tame the chaos, now it's all peaceful.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Yeah, because there's so much stuff that we do that we don't even realize that we're doing
Yeah.
when we're doing it. And
Yeah.
and so it's kind of one of those things that once you kind of take a moment and realize what you're doing, like some people it might be better. For some people, they might, if they realize what they're doing, then maybe it's kind of hard to replicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless it's intentional, right? I think your parents are telling you that when you're growing up, clean your room, get in that habit, get in the habit of creating order and taming chaos. I think that's what it is at its basis, and we find it in music, but it's built in. We sense the chaos, the asymmetry, and we provide the solution for it, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Wow, that's really interesting too. That's really, really like when do you still come across some of your students nowadays who are like who continue to still use that stuff every single day?
I think once you're exposed to it, it's one of those things that you can't forget. So what I hear from students is stuff like, I'm listening to all my music in a different way, realizing that, like, why do I like this song or that song? And then I'm realizing that because the expectations in this song are really move me, and they're realizing that it's their brain doing the math. That's what's triggering the emotional response to the music. So I think knowing about it, just it first of all, it's a mystery. It's an amazing kind of mystery as to why we have this. But second of all, I think it allows you to appreciate the music that you're listening to in a different way, because that's what composers are doing. They're playing with your expectations, and they're playing with those expectations in a myriad of different ways. And the way they do that is what shapes the music that they compose.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. And it's yeah, it's truly like, and the arts, really, it's kind of one of those things that you don't really realize how much art kind of helps you, or like where will we be in a world without music, or where will we be in a world without just being creative. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
something that it's in our daily life. Like music is everywhere. Like they said, imagine just turning on the radio and there's just nothing. There's no music
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
Imagine walking into a grocery store and you don't hear anything. Imagine going into a bar where it's supposed to be very, very lively and there's just nothing. It's just people talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine a movie without the music. It's not a
Yes,
movie
exactly.
anymore.
Sometimes, in some cases, the music is what makes a scene. You know, like
Absolutely.
if it's a death scene, sometimes the death itself might not be sad, but it's the music that plays with it that actually makes you feel sad. You know?
Yes, and that works in so many different areas. Like if you go to a football game or a baseball game, they're playing that kind of triumphant music, they're cheering the team on. That adds the flavor to it. But if you go to a funeral, then the music is going to be probably at least before the funeral, kind of somber, reflective, probably melancholic, right? That because everybody's supposed to be sad, and what happens is you come into that setting, and the music is kind of setting the tone of what you're supposed to be, and you start to mimic the tone of the music, just like you do at a party where the beat is going to be 120 beats per minute, and it's doom, 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 doom. Well, that gets your heart beating faster and enlivens you, right?
Yes, no, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah,
And it'd be like having a wedding with no music. It's like you're
yeah,
just walking in the aisle, and there's, let's say, it's an outdoor wedding, and all you hear is just the birds chirping.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like, okay, it's kind of peaceful, but this is kind of awkward.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we could imagine it. And as Nietzsche said, life without music would be a mistake. And I would tend to agree. I can't imagine all of the things that music does for us in our lives and in our art and in our worship services and everything else. Without that, what would we have? It would be a completely different existence.
Exactly. Like I kind of treat music like your morning coffee. You wake up and you need to stay awake, and there's no coffee. Coffee just doesn't exist. You're like, this feels kind of, or tea or whatever your morning beverage is that kind of gets your day started and gets you through the day. Imagine a
Yeah,
world without that. Imagine a world without restaurants, you know? Like,
yeah,
where would
yeah,
people go out to socialize and get food and stuff like that? They'd have to go to each other's houses and cook, you know? And music is the same way, you know? Like, it really brings people together, and it's very, and there's so many layers to it, as we were talking about here. There's so many more layers to it in making the music. You know, it's kind of like when you, speaking of restaurants, you go to enjoy this pizza. You don't know what the process was like making that pizza. You know,
hmm,
like you
hmm,
don't know what went, like what are the ingredients, what is this and that. With music, you just hear it, and you just have to, and you just enjoy it. You don't know, you weren't there when the composer was spending all those days beating their head up against the piano because they couldn't come up with the right note, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so interesting, and on that topic, the question is why. So, like, what's your favorite song or a favorite piece or favorite composer, favorite theater?
My favorite singer of all time is Frank Sinatra.
Oh wow, okay, so you
Yeah.
go back a bit.
I go back,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, he's a great singer. So, what is it about Sinatra that really that really makes you kind of groove with him, or it makes him so powerful to you?
Kind of takes me back uh to simpler times. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's one of those he's one of those artists that you can listen to his music and you just feel like, okay, this brings me back to the days in like high school, when, you know, high school theater, when we would always be sitting around in the theater before a show, before the audience comes in, just listening to old time music like Sinatra, Dean Martin,
Uh-huh.
Tom Jones. They play too, but Sinatra in particular was always the standout for me. It
Uh-huh.
takes me back to those times too, where like at that time you don't even realize, and it might not even take me back as far as high school. It takes me back kind of further back, when you kind of go like, these were simpler times. You know, when I used
Yeah.
to listen to these songs, it took me back to simpler times, and even in some of the lyrics too. You know, it kind of really makes you like even whenever I was on a bus tour to New York, and as we drove in, we played New York, New York by Frank Sinatra. Like it felt very, it felt very right. And he has that way with his lyrics and with his songs that really kind of, it really speaks to you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have friends that don't like Frank Sinatra?
I have a few friends that are like, how old are you? I had someone ask me that one. I think my dad actually asked me one time. He said, I used to listen to that when I was your age. I'm like, yes, but I like them.
Well, that's so interesting, though, right? Because why you're friends with people, so you tend to share values with people that you're friends with, and yet there's something about the music that you really groove to, but they don't. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's a
Well,
really
everyone
interesting
has
question.
like that's why there's different flavors of ice cream in my opinion. Like there's everybody's gonna like there's gonna be people who like chocolate. There's gonna be people who say you like chocolate, and then there's gonna be people who like moon mist, and there's gonna be people who say that's the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. I'm like, okay, I might disagree with you on that because I love moon mist, but for some people they jive with it, some of them don't. It's kind of like you go to a restaurant and people you know everybody orders different things. It's like maybe this person didn't want steak, this person didn't want pizza, this person didn't want a burger, this person
Yeah.
didn't want fish, you know. So like there's always different kinds of and it's all do you find it's all oftentimes kind of hard to explain, like when someone asks you why, what kind of drives you to this song? Do you kind of struggle with yourself sometimes going like I can't really explain why, I just like it, you know?
Well, yeah, it's a great question because there are a lot of composers that I really admire, but that I don't listen to very much. And I don't know. I've tried to answer that question, and the only thing I can come up with is that when you're making artistic decisions in writing the music, you're really mapping out your kind of a vision of how you see the world. It's somewhat psychological, I think, that the music contains the imprint of the composer's worldview, psychology, or something. That's why, you know, when you listen to music of one person, it has a quality to it that you can identify because there's something in it that is personal to that composer. And I think what happens is that when you're sympathetic to that worldview or that psychology, when that resonates with you, then you're going to like that composer. And when it's someone that's very different from you, you're going to say, you know, I can admire it. I know it's very skilled, but it doesn't reach me here because I think there's something about the psychology that is mapped onto the music, and that's what we're kind of responding to sympathetically.
Right, exactly. It's also kind of a similar situation of like someone asks, "Why do you need coffee to get through your morning?" It's like I don't know, you know. It's like it's just it kind of it energizes me. It tastes
Hmm.
good, you know.
Hmm.
Like there's sometimes there are some things that you kind of struggle. You almost have to like bullet point them in your head. Like it's good. It keeps me awake. It's you know like it's
Tasty.
addictive, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But and it's great being able to find these different ways to like let people know why you know and this is really what makes art is that you know it makes people think, it makes people talk, and it makes people see themselves different, and then
Yeah.
also in your case using math is something that I never would have thought about. And, you know, it's truly fantastic to see all that you've been doing and that all you're going to continue to do now that you're retired. Do you have any other big retirement plans aside from podcasts?
Let's see. I've got a few things. I've got a friend of mine who wants me to work on a recording for him, so I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to be doing a lot more podcasts. I'm going to continue with my editorial work, and I'll probably do a lot more reading than I've done in the last couple of years with the extra time. So that's what I'm really kind of pointing towards is doing some reading of big books that I haven't read yet.
Oh, definitely. Awesome. And definitely there's one thing for sure is that there's lots of people who can benefit from these lessons too, especially people who like do music and stuff. They can see
Yeah,
this and go, I never thought of that, you know? So
yeah.
thank you for letting me know that. I'm certainly no singer by any means. But as soon as I started singing that, I'm like, oh, this is why I talk on here. This is why I don't sing. Someone saw me with this mic and they're like, you sing? I'm like, no, I just talk.
Well, you know, when you're in a classroom with 30 students, everybody kind of zeroes in on the note, right? So, you know, you kind of put on the spot to do that by yourself. But so, good job.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for bringing it out of me. I really appreciate it. Kurt, where could people find you on social media or online, like website links and stuff like that?
Yeah, my personal website is kurtellenberger.com. So there's my name on the screen, and just put a .com after it, and you can find all my compositions, my performances, and all of my articles there.
Perfect. We'll put that link in our episode description, guys. So be sure to go check that out. Kurt, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. Congratulations on a great career, 31 years. I'm very excited to see you on more podcasts, and best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, my pleasure. My pleasure, Kurt. Guys, we're going to take a short break. We will be right back. But until then, this is Franky and Kurt signing off. Cheers, Kurt.
Cheers.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corkin Entertainment Show. That was me and Kurt Ellenberger. Thank you so much, Kurt, for coming on the show. Really, really appreciate your time. And guys, be sure to check out all the amazing stuff that Kurt's doing on his website. I'm going to put the link to that in the episode description. So be sure to go check that out. And thank you again, Bert, for the amazing lesson. Amazing lesson, and hope you guys learned something from it as well too, listening. And so for our first solo discussion topic today is going to be talking a little about some recent news from Sam Raimi, of course, who directed the first original Spider-Man trilogy starring Tobey Maguire. So you guys know there have been reports that Sam Raimi was kind of open to doing a Spider-Man 4, and it was seeming optimistic because, well, I mean, of course, at first they canceled it back in 2009, and then they, Tobey Maguire came back in No Way Home. Now there's speculation that we're going to see him in Avengers Doomsday. And so then lately, Sam Raimi has been kind of talking about, like, I'd love to see more Spider-Man and things like that, with Tobey Spider-Man. So it really started to, say, like, okay, maybe, like, for me, I'm like, maybe it could happen. I said, it's probably, if I had to put money on it, I'd say it's probably not going to, but I think it's a possibility because Sam Raimi is talking about it more than he ever was before. Probably more so driven because of Tobey's appearance in No Way Home. Was just like, people still really love Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, so they probably want to see more. But now he has shut that down for sure. This is an article from IGN. Sam Raimi says there's no chance of a Spider-Man 4 starring Tobey Maguire happening, and his versions of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, quote unquote, have gone elsewhere. So speaking of Screen Rant, Raimi has said that he loved the Spider-Man franchise, but could not see a way he would return to direct another entry himself, despite the enduring popularity of Maguire's incarnation and calls from fans for more following the character's reappearance in 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, which, yeah, that's it. I mean, like, it's being rumored that he's going to be in Doomsday. I'm thinking he's probably going to be in Doomsday. Really, I really think at this point he's going to be in Doomsday. Just all the rumors, all the speculations, all the friggin' AI photos that look so real that even I'm like, there's some of them you see, you're like, that's so obviously fake. But then you see some, you're like, is that a real set photo? Like, so I think we're going to see him in Doomsday at this point. I'm fully convinced of it. And he's even said in the past, Tobey Maguire has said that he would want to do more Spider-Man just given the right opportunity. But I mean, who's not going to want to have him back? Well, clearly Sam Raimi. So unfortunately, Sam Raimi, this is the quote that he says. For a brief time, I was handed the torch to carry on after 40 years of Spider-Man comics. And then after my three movies, I handed the torch off to someone else. And I think they've got to keep running with the storyline and the audience that is now following the torchbearer. So now Raimi suggested he'd be unable to tell more stories with his versions of Spider-Man and Mary Jane as their lives have continued off screen. Because of that, Raimi has said that it wouldn't be right for me to go back and try to resurrect my version of the story, in that he had been able to pass the torch happily. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. It is, to kind of hear that, because we were kind of getting, as I said, I was kind of in the minority, or in the mindset of I don't think we're going to see a Spider-Man 4 just because of just all the time that has passed and everything, but that we would probably see Toby. The possibility of Toby returning for Doomsday is pretty probable at this point. But yeah, it is a little bit of a bummer that now we finally have that confirmation that no, as much as he probably wanted to have it happen now, it's just like, yeah, that the way I see it is that he probably sees it just as the ship has sailed for me. Like there's no, they've passed the torch. Having Toby pop up in a few movies here and there, like No Way Home, Doomsday, and things like that, I think is still, they could still do that. But I mean, to do his own movie like that, yeah, it's and I wouldn't want to see another Tobey Maguire solo movie if it wasn't directed by Sam Raimi. That's the one thing for sure. Not that nobody else could do it, but I mean, you see what he's done with the first three. You don't really want to see that to go to anybody else. You don't want to see anybody else handle that. It'd be like them doing a fourth Lord of the Rings movie and them not getting Peter Jackson for it. It's like, really? Like, but granted, the new one they're doing is going to be directed by Andy Serkis, but still. But yeah, that's kind of really all I wanted to say about that. There's not really a crazy amount to say about that topic, but just that it is kind of a bummer that we finally got that confirmation. But it was to kind of be expected after that long. It's one of those things that I don't know if you can just casually just jump right back into it. Granted, I would have loved to seen a Logan style Toby Spider-Man movie where we see him as like old man Peter. Almost said old man Toby, old man Peter. That could have been cool, but who knows? I think it's possible we could see it again, directed by someone else. But that's, as I said, that's something that I don't want to see. It's just, if you're gonna do another Toby-led Spider-Man, you got to get Sam Raimi, and it seems like that ship has sailed. So that's just how I see it. But you guys might feel differently about that. Be sure to let me know what you think about that in the comments and social media and all that stuff. This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Holy Hydrogen. Okay, guys, let's be real. We all try our best to stay hydrated, right? But not all water is created equal. That's where Holy Hydrogen comes in. They've got this awesome device called the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition, and it takes clean water to the next level by infusing it with molecular energy. That means you're not just drinking water. You're giving your body extra support with every sip. Better energy, less inflammation, and a real boost to your immune system. So try the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition today by going to shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran for $100 off your purchase. Again, that's shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout. Stay hydrated and stay healthy. And so our last solo discussion topic today is going to be talking a little bit about, we lost one of the greats this past week, and I really wanted to just kind of take some time to reflect a little bit. Of course, I'm sure all of you guys have heard the very sudden and tragic passing of Catherine O'Hara. Of course, for those of you guys, I think probably what she's most well known for. Now she's well known for a lot of things, but I think the one in particular from everybody that I've talked to about her passing is Home Alone. Like, oh, the mom from Home Alone. She passed away this past Friday, and just an absolute shock. It was one of those celebrity deaths that I've kind of talked about this before, that there's some that you see that they pass away and you're like, oh, okay, like, they were they were kind of slowing down, kind of like Ozzy Osbourne, for example. When we lost him back in July, I think it was July or August, It came as no surprise to any of us, really, because we knew for a while that his health was kind of going downhill. He had that big final concert and everything, and it was almost like that concert was like his swan song. Like he knew that it was going to be the end. But and then there was also some others that you just knew that it was their time type thing. That they were ready to go. Betty White was one too, that she died a few weeks shy of her 99th birthday, but she was, let's be real, she was 99. You know what I mean? Like she lived a great life, and she wasn't really doing much in her last years anyway. But this one here came as such a shock. This was such a shock to hear. It was one of those things that I popped open Instagram, went through some of my stories, and I saw somebody shared it. I can't remember who. Just saying it was a picture of Catherine O'Hara, 1954 to 2025. I was like, what? Or 2026. I was like, what? There's no way. And then looked it up, and I was like, oh crap, this is legit. And then we of course saw lots of tributes pouring in. Macaulay Culkin, of course, put a big one up that was really touching and really sad. Yeah, so she's passed away, and it really, really shocked me. Not just because 71. I mean, she wasn't old. It might sound old to some, but I mean, like, for some people, it's not like she was 91 or 99 in Betty. It's similar to Betty White. Not only was she 71, but she was so active these last few years. She was crazy active. She was, of course, she was in the studio with Seth Rogen. I didn't see it, but I know that she was in that. And she also appeared in The Last of Us. A lot of different things the last few years, and so it was just one of those things that. Elemental. She had a voice in Elemental, that animated movie back in 2023. It was just really shocking to hear this. I was like, what? Like it really, really just took me by surprise. So when you kind of reflect on her passing and just the impact she had on the entertainment industry, I think she's going to go down as one of the all-time greatest. You know what I mean? It's actually kind of funny. I think probably around this time last year, actually, sometime, I can't remember. I'm always trying to get different people on the show and things like that. And I think it might have been a Christmas a couple of years ago. Catherine O'Hara was one of the people that I tried to reach out to. There's people that I reach out to that I'm like, they're probably never going to say yes, but just try, see what happens. Catherine O'Hara was one of them. I said, it's probably not going to happen, but let's just throw out a message, see what happens. Nothing came of it. Yeah, it was really, and another thing that I saw her in that I really, really liked her in was she wasn't in a crazy amount of the movie, but it was kind of a fairly significant role, was a series of unfortunate events, the Jim Carrey one. She was the character of Justice Strauss. I used to love those books as a kid. And she played Justice Strauss in the movie version. She also had a part in the television series version, and I was actually kind of like, what? I said, I remember watching that, and I was like, is that Catherine O'Hara? And I had to look it up. I said, oh crap, it is. She played one of the ones at the mill. I'm kind of freezing on the names, but you guys who have seen it will probably know or remember. So no, it was really, and of course, I think the big one is Home Alone. I mean, that's something that every person watches at Christmas time. Just a classic film that it's probably never going to go away. Let's be real. It's never going to go away. Home Alone's always going to be. And I think watching it now, there's going to be another extra layer of like, oh crap, like, a little sadness. That's kind of like when you're watching Full House now and you see Danny Tanner and you're like, oh crap, Bob Saget's not with us anymore type thing. And Home Alone's going to have that same effect now too. Not that we haven't had other actors from Home Alone pass away, but she was a big one. Like the whole, dynamic, her performance in the first Home Alone was absolutely spectacular. And really, the Kevin, I'm sure people are still going to be, that's one of the most iconic like film screams. Maybe one of the most iconic screams period is her screaming Kevin. And we're just going to hear that now for the rest of our lives. And I'm totally fine with that. So Yeah, just kind of wanted to. I'm kind of just speaking off the cuff that it's just one that really really shocked me in that I didn't really know she was sick. I didn't know at the time of this recording they haven't really said too much about what happened to her. But when I kind of look at some of the pictures of her from recent days, I'm like, oh, okay, she looked a little sick. Like, she looked sick. I don't know what was wrong, but it was just one of those things that I was like, oh, okay, like, wow, it's kind of crazy to look back on now and just think that, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Just a really, really sad day. I really think she's going to go down as one of the best entertainers, period, that we've had the last 30, 40 years. And also Canadian too. She's also a Canadian, a fellow Canadian actress. Schitt's Creek, I know, was such a huge. I never watched Schitt's Creek, but I'm probably gonna have to check it out because just even my mom is such a big fan of it, and she was really shocked to hear of her passing too. I think like everyone is. We're all just kind of like, what? So just kind of paying tribute to her, rest in peace. It's quite the impact she left behind for sure. As I said, people are going to be screaming Kevin for the next, a long time. And so hope you guys can, there's whether you were impacted by her and her work in some way, shape, or form, be sure to let me know what you think, what your favorite roles were from her. For me, series of unfortunate events, she really kind of took, she was really entertaining for the short little pieces in as she was, but for me, it's always going to be Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Not Elemental. I did see Elemental, but Night Before Christmas she was in. Frank and Weenie. Just absolutely shocking. It really was. So be sure to let me know, guys, what you think about the tragic passing of Catherine O'Hara, what your favorite roles were of her, and all that stuff. Feel free to pay tribute. So rest in peace, Catherine O'Hara, and your legacy will live on for sure. And so that's going to do it for the Corcoran Entertainment Show today, guys. I want to thank my guest, Kurt Ellenberger, for coming on the show. Be sure to check out his website. It's in our episode description. Thank you guys, as always, for choosing this podcast to listen to as your podcast of choice. If you like it, be sure to give us a nice review, rating, whatever it is you do. Comment, leave us nice reviews and all that stuff. And we will see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Franky signing off. Have a great week, everybody.